Hi all, welcome to my milestone players that you do for objectives predictions video. This will obviously be interesting to see if we'd get this again this year. We only got 5 of them last year, plus the upgraded players, so hopefully we get good players to go with and have a bit of fun as well. So because likes always really much appreciated. Sub to the channel if you're new, follow me on Twitter, G is a legend. All links are down below for players to the channel and social media links as always, and comment down below who you think could get a milestone player. What I've done is based it on all the leagues that have had a League SBC since FIFA, so it's like 16 leagues in all. So I thought 16 players would make a lot of sense. Every card that we have featured has been given free inform boosts, because if I remember right, when the cards were done last year, it was the equivalent of free inform boosts, and the usual parameters were that you had to score with the player and win. So the only time it was different was Serie A, so that is worth keeping in mind as well with it. So for each of these players, I would assume it will be score with the player from the league and win a rivals game, for example, and that will apply to them all. So it's like, so Premier League, it's like the 20 teams and obviously win. So let's get into the players and kind of break down my thoughts from there. So we have 11 86 rated cards, starting off with Tierney. Tierney would probably put him up there in terms of par with like Robertson for like probably stats, but also maybe even more appealing option. Try and get the balance, of course, of cards, and I think Tierney would be very desirable. I think EA like giving him special cards in general, as shown by the League SBC and the Future Stars card, a milestone version of him to grind for. I think a lot of people would definitely do. It comes down to obviously personal preference. McKennie, 86 rated card for him. Obviously the big question is, will he actually get any special cards at Juventus? And if that is the case, it could be a card like this, for example, and free inform boost would probably make him a very well rounded card. It definitely would be ticking a lot of boxes. Obviously try to link him in out with Serie A would be a little bit tricky, but he would definitely be a nice alternative to, like, say, Dybala in like that kind of like attacking mid role potentially. Then Schmid of Freiburg, making sure even the smaller teams get a bit of appreciation as well. He is definitely a very appealing base card at the start of FIFA. Making him usable as a milestone player is more than obtainable, and I would definitely say he could tick a lot of boxes. And because of French right backs in general, he would definitely probably tick quite a few boxes for people to say, I would like that card. If not, I'd be quite surprised, because he would link up quite nicely to obviously like your Varans and Vieiras and your Pogba's, so you're not exactly short of options, and sometimes you need a link, and you say, so, oh, I need a French right back, and you kind of just need one. If you need to sometimes just throw in one for the sake of it, he would tick the boxes. Right now he's on loan in Nice from Lyon. Despite that, I still feel he'd be a nice card. He obviously had a nice player of the month last year at the start of FIFA. Could have the same again with a milestone player being 86 rated. Obviously just kind of like defence would be his one downfall. Kubo, very popular card last year. I enjoyed his futures. I didn't really try much of his future stars, but it was his summer heat card, which was insane, very fun card. And now he's obviously at Villarreal on loan after his stint at Mallorca. And Kubo, I would imagine being equally popular to go for. 75 rated he is just now, free informed, put him to an 86 would be pretty juicy. Adnan for MLS, now a lot of people would be like, really, why this guy? Like, look at the stats. Like, his base card is not too bad in general. MLS needs a bit of love in general from time to time, and this is one way to do it. Yes, Nation, League, etc. is not remotely appealing at all, and there's probably other cards that they'll choose. Adnan ticks a lot of boxes for just a fun left back to use, and also just gives, like, you've got to do some defensive options from time to time as well. Waldschmidt from Benfica, the German forward, transferred in the summer. I would say could be a fun little option. gives an alternative to Muller in that kind of position. I would say regardless. Mensah from Benjitas. This cam looks quite a nice little card actually for a base 75. Boosting him up to an 86 I would imagine would make him much more remotely usable. Obviously you don't know like if they'll boost him obviously to these kind of like say stats, but I would imagine it would help regardless. Vargas, another one, he plays in the Chilean league these days and definitely could get a nice healthy boost on his card that he currently rocks with. Macias, the reason he would actually be done is for troll reasons. There's a lot of people scrutinised this guy because he was quicker than like Sancho and Gnabry and so forth. Could you imagine they did a faster version of him being a milestone, and it would give the Chinese league some firepower in the front line when you think of like Teixeira, Hulk, Paulinho, Talisca, Renato Augusto. Marco Marin now plies his trade in the Saudi League, and making him an 86 could make him quite appealing actually. Also, plus he's 4-star. I've tried to make sure a lot of the players that we picked were either minimum 3-star, and anyone that was like 4-star obviously stood out a little bit more, and he was one example of it. Now Japan, like silvers were a little bit trickier. Like this is when you see your 84 pile. Son Christen, the Thai forward, he seems to be quite popular from like a silver perspective. Could you imagine him juiced up? That would probably make him get a few people excited, just to have like as a super sub, just to have a bit of fun. I think that's what he would kind of tick the boxes. Scottish Premiership, like there's so many options they could consider. Natcham would probably be the perfect cheap option from an 84 perspective because of his stats increase. But Yanis Hadji was given last year when you went level 15 and was like a very fun like 87 rated card. They could make a slightly less rated version of him as an 84 and still be equally fun if I'm honest. Mauro Jr. of the Eredivisie, I thought might well make a silver. They could easily go a gold and bump up to an 86, but I thought let's go variety. It doesn't necessarily always have to be a big upgrade for even the Eredivisie. Like there's plenty of options that they could consider, but I thought might as well pick someone that's just a nice alternative as it were. Mauro Jr. does have quite a bit of hype on him regardless. The Villa in the A-League, I did look at like Fornaroli and McLaren and Ninkovic, even Diamante I even considered. They might even juice up. Diamante would be an 86 I think, or Castro the same. But I thought the Villa gives the Mexican options a bit of impressiveness, and he'd actually probably be quite a fun little card. He's been unlucky the last couple of years to not bagging in form, so this would be the kind of option. And then Championship, going back to defenders, because of nation I thought I would go with Yuri Ribeiro, the left back for Nottingham Forest. They could easily go plenty of other directions, like a midfielder or defender or even a goalie. Like I know we have no goalkeepers here, but for someone when it's like Ribeiro, like when it comes to say the like if they were to do these versions and then say upgrades, so like say everyone that's 86 was to go to say 89 and all the 84s were to go to 87s, say you do the upgrade one would take a clean sheet, so that's kind of why you maybe get the clean sheet element for the defenders. But you've got to kind of remember you've got to balance it out with some defenders, some mids and some forwards, so it's trying to find the balance, but at the same time it's not the easiest to do. That's kind of why we have quite a lot of cams, especially in this centre-mids and cams, and like obviously the forwards being like Macias, Waldschmidt, Son Christen. It's why you kind of see how it plays out, and why we have a heavy impetus on like cams and centre-mids in particular. But let me know folks in the comments down below, would any of these milestone players appeal to you? Would you try and grind to them if the opportunity presents itself, especially if you're getting say 10, 15, 20 pack, whatever it is for the respective leagues? Remember that as well. like 2 player packs, mind not, or 2 rare gold player packs, whatever you may be given as offer. But let me know your predictions for milestone players. This is a all running thing that we'll be doing just now. So smash links, always sub to channel if you're new. Follow me on Twitter, choose a legend, and I will catch you all later.